For many people, moving into a nursing home feels like a smart and even necessary step as they get older. You might picture it as a peaceful place where your needs are taken care of, where you're surrounded by caring staff and friendly neighbors, and where life becomes simpler. After all, you've worked hard your whole life, raising a family, building a career, managing a home, and now it's time to rest, relax, and enjoy your later years without the daily struggles of housework, maintenance, or worrying about your HEALTHTHAT's the dream. That's the picture most brochures, websites, and even well-meaning family members paint when they talk about nursing homes. But for many elderly people, the reality can be very different, and I am one of them. Moving into a nursing home seemed like the right choice for me at first. My children were busy with their lives, my house felt too large and empty and small. Tasks like grocery shopping, cleaning, and even climbing stairs started to feel exhausting. I thought, maybe this is what I need, a place where I'll be safe, taken care of, and surrounded by others in the same stage of life. But after spending time living in a nursing home, I've come to realize there are some hard truths people don't talk about enough. In this video, I want to share with you the 6 hard truths I've learned from my own experience of moving into a nursing home. These are lessons I wish someone had told me before I made the decision. My hope is that by sharing them, you or your loved ones will be able to make a more informed choice. This is not about blaming nursing homes. Many of them do their best with the resources they have. This is about opening your eyes to the full. Picture the good, the bad, and the hidden challenges that often come with this lifestyle change. Let's begin. Truth number 1. The loss of personal freedom is real and painful. One of the biggest regrets I have is underestimating how much personal freedom I would lose. Before moving in, I thought I would still be able to live my life the way I wanted, just with a little more help. I believed I would have the freedom to come and go as I pleased, make my own schedule, and decide how to spend my days. But the truth is, living in a nursing home comes with many rules, schedules, and routines that you are expected to follow. Meal times are fixed. Activities are planned in advance. Lights out happens at a certain hour. If you want to leave the building, there are often procedures you need to follow, sign-out sheets, approvals, and sometimes even needing someone to accompany you. This can make you feel like you're back in school, or worse, like you've lost your independence. Even small freedoms, like choosing when to take a bath or what to eat, can be limited. Of course, these rules are often in place for safety and organization, but they can also make you feel like you are no longer in control of your own life. For someone who has lived independently for decades, this loss of autonomy can be a heavy emotional burden. It's not just about big freedoms like going out. It's about the small things too, like decorating your room the way you want, playing your favorite music as loud as you like, cooking your own meals when you feel like it. These small freedoms are what make life feel personal, and losing them can create a deep sense of frustration and even sadness. I often found myself longing for the simple joy of deciding what I wanted to do on a Sunday morning, without having to check a schedule or ask for permission. Over time, this constant feeling of being monitored and managed began to weigh on me. It felt like a part of my identity was slowly slipping away. Truth number 2. Loneliness can still exist, even in a crowd. Another painful lesson I learned is that being surrounded by people does not guarantee you won't feel lonely. In fact, some of the loneliest moments of my life happened while I was living in a nursing home. Even though there were staff and residents around me every day, the truth is meaningful. Connections are hard to build in this environment. Many residents have their own health struggles, cognitive challenges, or simply different interests. While there are social activities designed to bring people together like bingo nights, group exercises, or movie screenings, these can sometimes feel forced or superficial. Real friendships take time and shared experiences to develop. In a nursing home, with people constantly coming and going, this can be very difficult. Some residents prefer to stay in their rooms, while others may not be able to communicate well due to health conditions. This makes it hard to find a true companion with whom you can share deep conversations or create meaningful memories. Family visits can help, but they often become less frequent over time. People are busy, and sometimes the guilt of seeing a loved one in such a setting makes visits emotionally complicated. As a result, you may find yourself spending long hours alone. Despite being in a building full of people, this kind of loneliness feels different from the solitude you might have experienced living alone at home. At home, you are alone by choice, surrounded by your familiar space, your memories, your routine. In a nursing home, loneliness feels more like isolation, being disconnected from the life you once had, while being physically surrounded by strangers. Truth. #3. The quality of care varies more than you expect before moving into a nursing home. I assume that all residents receive top-notch care. After all, that's the main reason people choose to live there, to get the assistance they need, provided by trained professionals. But the reality is that the quality of care can vary greatly, not just from one nursing home to another, but even within the same facility. The truth is, many nursing homes face staff shortages, high turnover rates, and budget constraints. Caregivers are often overworked, responsible for too many residents at once, which makes it hard for them to provide the kind of personal attention each resident deserves. I've seen staff members who are kind, patient, and genuinely care about the well-being of residents, but I've also encountered caregivers who were clearly burned out, rushed, or simply indifferent. This inconsistency can be frustrating and even dangerous, especially when it comes to things like medication management, hygiene assistance, or responding to emergencies. Moreover, the level of care often depends on how vocal you or your family members are. Residents who have regular visitors tend to receive more attention, simply because staff know that their actions are being monitored. For those who don't have frequent visitors, it's easier for their needs to be overlooked. This hard truth made me realize how important it is to stay active in your own care, or to have an advocate who can speak up on your behalf. Relying blindly on the system to always do the right thing is a mistake. The reality is, in many nursing homes, you have to fight to maintain the level of dignity and attention you deserve. Asterisk. Truth number 4. Your physical and mental health can decline faster than expected. One of the most shocking truths I've experienced is how quickly health can decline after moving into a nursing home. Ironically, most people move into these facilities hoping to improve or at least maintain their health. But in reality, the opposite often happens. This decline is not always because of poor care. It's sometimes due to the environment itself. In a nursing home, many daily activities that used to keep you moving are no longer part of your routine. You don't cook your own meals, you don't do your own laundry, you don't go out for errands or maintain your garden. These small tasks might seem tiring, but they are crucial for keeping your body active and your mind engaged. Without these regular movements and mental challenges, your muscles weaken faster, your sense of balance deteriorates, your mind doesn't get as much stimulation. Even your motivation can drop because there's simply less purpose in the daily routine. In my own experience, I noticed how days blurred together. Without responsibilities or goals, it became easier to fall into a passive lifestyle, waking up, eating, sitting, watching TV, and sleeping. This lack of activity creates a vicious cycle. The less you do, the less you're able to do. Additionally, seeing other residents in various stages of decline can be emotionally draining. You might start to internalize the idea that this is your inevitable future, which can lead to depression and hopelessness. This is why it's so important to find ways to stay active, even within the limitations of a nursing home. Whether it's participating in exercise classes, pursuing a hobby, or simply taking daily walks, maintaining some level of physical and mental activity is crucial to slowing down this decline. Truth number 5. The cost. This can be overwhelming and financially draining. Another hard truth that many people overlook is the huge financial burden of living in a nursing home. Before I moved in, I knew it wouldn't be cheap, but I didn't fully grasp how quickly the costs could add up and how much of my savings would be drained just to cover basic living expenses. Nursing homes charge for room and board, meals, basic care, and medical services. But there are often additional fees for things you might assume are included, such as specialized physical therapy, extra assistance for mobility, or even certain social activities. These hidden costs can pile up fast for those who don't qualify for government assistance or don't have long-term care insurance. The financial strain can be devastating. It's heartbreaking to see how many elderly people are forced to sell their homes, drain their retirement savings, or depend entirely on their children to afford these services. And even if you can afford it initially, the long-term sustainability is a serious concern. What happens if you live longer than expected? What happens when your savings run out? These are questions I never seriously considered until I was already living in the nursing home. The financial stress can also impact your family, creating tension and guilt on both sides. It's difficult to enjoy your remaining years when every month feels like watching your life's work, the money you saved and earned, slowly disappear. Just to maintain a basic standard of living, this truth taught me a valuable lesson. Plan carefully, get clear on the real costs, and explore every possible alternative before committing to a nursing home. Sometimes other solutions like in-home care or assisted living arrangements might be more affordable and offer a better quality of life. Truth, #6. Emotional disconnection from family and the outside world, the final and perhaps most painful truth, is the emotional disconnection that often happens between nursing home residents and their families, as well as the outside world. When I first moved in, my children visited regularly. Friends would call or drop by, but as time passed, the visits became less frequent, the calls shorter, and the sense of connection slowly faded. It's not always intentional. Life gets busy. People assume you are being well cared for. They might think you are surrounded by friends or that you're adjusting well. But the reality is, being placed in a nursing home often creates an emotional barrier. Out of sight, out of mind. This isolation becomes even worse when you realize how disconnected you are from the real world. Current events, community activities, family milestones, these things continue, but you are no longer a part of them. Watching life go on without you can create a profound sense of sadness and even invisibility. I remember holidays being especially hard. While staff made efforts to create a festive atmosphere, it was never the same as being at home with family, around a familiar table, with the people you love most. Over time, the gap between their world and your world grows wider. Some residents respond to this disconnection by withdrawing further. Others become bitter or depressed. Maintaining emotional connections requires effort, not just from family and friends, but also from the residents themselves. But when you are surrounded by an environment that feels institutional, it's hard to keep that emotional spark alive. This was perhaps my greatest regret, not preparing myself and my family for how much work it would take to stay emotionally connected after moving into a nursing home. Final thoughts: living in a nursing home is not all bad. For some people, it's the right choice. There are benefits: safety, medical support, and social opportunities. But it's important to enter this life with open eyes. The 6 hard truths I've shared are not to scare you, but to help you make an informed decision. I wish someone had told me these things before I moved in. Maybe I would have chosen differently. Maybe I would have tried home care first. Maybe I would have stayed in my house a little longer with more support. Who knows? But what I do know is that these truths are real and they deserve to be talked about. Thank you for staying with me until the end. I know this has been a deeply personal and perhaps even uncomfortable topic, but these hard truths are important for all of us, whether you're approaching old age yourself, caring for an elderly loved one, or simply planning ahead for the future. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It might seem like a small gesture, but it truly helps more people find this important information. And remember this channel, Lo You Are. Wisdom is all about sharing real-life experiences, lessons, and reflections from the elderly community. We believe that growing older is not just about facing challenges, but also about passing down wisdom to the next generation. So if you want more honest conversations about aging, life lessons, and practical advice for a better future, make sure to subscribe to our Wisdom and turn on the notification bell. You'll be the first to know when we share new stories and insights. Also, feel free to leave a comment below. Have you or a loved one ever considered moving into a nursing home? What are your thoughts after hearing these 6 hard truths? I'd love to hear your experiences. Thank you again for watching. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. Remember, wisdom grows when it is shared. I'll see you in the next video.